Welcome, dear traveler, to a gentle journey through time. Allow yourself to settle comfortably wherever you are, feeling your body sink deeper into relaxation with each breath you take. Tonight, we drift back through thousands of years, to the very dawn of human civilization, where the first cities rose from fertile river valleys, and humanity took its earliest steps toward the world we know today. Close your eyes now, if you haven't already, and take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. Hold it gently for a moment, and release it slowly through your mouth. Feel your shoulders drop, your jaw soften, as we prepare to explore the ancient land between two rivers, the cradle of civilization itself. In the coming moments, we'll wander together through 20 peaceful chapters, each one revealing the gentle mysteries of ancient Mesopotamia. We'll float along the banks of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, where the world's first farmers learned to work with the rhythms of flood and harvest, where the first cities emerged like dreams made manifest, where writing was born, and where humanity first began to record its stories. You'll meet the Sumerians, those remarkable people who built the first temples reaching toward the stars. You'll witness the rise of Babylon, with its hanging gardens and towering ziggurats. You'll walk alongside kings and scribes, farmers and artisans, all moving through their daily lives with the same hopes and dreams that echo in our hearts today. With each chapter, allow yourself to sink deeper into tranquility. Let the ancient wisdom of these first civilizations wash over you like warm water, soothing away the concerns of your modern world, replacing them with the timeless peace of humanity's earliest achievements. Take another deep breath now, feeling your entire body release any remaining tension. Your breathing is becoming slower, deeper, more rhythmic, like the eternal flow of those ancient rivers that nurtured the very first cities. Breathe deeply, and let the journey begin. Chapter 1. The Fertile Crescent, Cradle of Civilization. Let your breathing slow and deepen now, as we drift back through the mists of time, back nearly 10,000 years, to a land that would forever change the course of human history. Feel yourself floating gently downward through the centuries, past empires and kingdoms, past the rise and fall of countless civilizations, until we arrive at the very beginning, in the warm, fertile valley between two mighty rivers. Picture yourself standing on a gentle hill, overlooking the vast expanse of Mesopotamia. The word itself means, between rivers, in ancient Greek, and before you stretch the life-giving waters of the Tigris and Euphrates. These twin arteries of civilization flow like silver ribbons through the landscape, carrying with them the rich, dark silt that will nourish humanity's first great experiment in settled life. The sun rises slowly over this ancient land, casting golden light across endless fields of wild barley and wheat. The air is warm and humid, filled with the sweet scent of river water and fertile earth. You can hear the gentle lapping of water against muddy banks, the soft rustle of reeds swaying in the morning breeze, and the distant calls of waterfowl beginning their day. This is the Fertile Crescent, stretching in a great arc from the Persian Gulf in the southeast, up through modern-day Iraq, and curving westward through Syria and down into the Jordan River Valley. Here, where the climate is neither too wet nor too dry, where the soil is rich beyond measure, humanity will take its first tentative steps away from the nomadic life of hunting and gathering, towards something entirely new. Feel the soft earth beneath your feet as you walk closer to the riverbank. The ground is dark and loamy, still damp from the seasonal floods that have deposited layers upon layers of nutrient-rich sediment. This is alluvium, the gift of the rivers, and it will prove to be more precious than gold to the people who will soon call this place home. In the distance, you might glimpse small groups of early settlers, their skin bronzed by the sun, their movements deliberate and purposeful as they tend to the world's first cultivated fields. These are the ancestors of the Sumerians, though they don't yet know the great cities they will build, the writing systems they will create, the laws they will establish. They know only that this land provides, that the rivers give life, and that working together yields more than working alone. Watch as the morning mist rises from the water's surface, creating an almost dreamlike atmosphere. The landscape seems to shimmer between reality and possibility, between what is and what will become. You can sense the potential here. The way this land holds within it the seeds of civilization itself, the promise of cities and temples, of art and literature, of the first written laws and the first recorded stories. The temperature is perfect, neither too hot nor too cold, and you feel completely at peace as you observe this pivotal moment in human history. The gentle sound of flowing water creates a natural rhythm, like a lullaby that has been playing for thousands of years, inviting you to relax even deeper, to let go of any remaining tension, and simply witness the birth of everything we recognize as civilization. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, casting longer shadows across the fertile plain, you prepare to explore deeper into this remarkable world, where humanity first learned to bend nature to its will, and where the foundations of our modern world were quietly, peacefully, laid down in the rich earth between two rivers. Let yourself sink deeper into this ancient tranquility, as we prepare to meet the remarkable people who would transform this promising landscape into humanity's first great civilization. Chapter 2. Uruk. The first great city breathes slowly and deeply now, as we drift further into the heart of ancient Mesopotamia. Let yourself be carried gently southward, to where the Euphrates River curves through the fertile plains. Here, rising from the flat landscape like a dream made manifest, stands humanity's first great city. Uruk. Feel the warm desert breeze against your skin as you approach this marvel of human achievement. The year is approximately 3500 BCE, and before you stretches a settlement unlike anything the world has ever seen. Home to nearly 50,000 souls, Uruk sprawls across the landscape, its mud brick walls gleaming golden in the afternoon sun. This is where civilization truly begins, where humanity first learns to live together in numbers that stagger the imagination. As you walk closer to the city gates, notice the massive defensive walls that encircle Uruk. These barriers stretch for 6 miles around the entire settlement, built from countless sun-dried bricks, each one shaped by human hands and baked hard by the relentless Mesopotamian sun. The walls rise high above your head, casting cool shadows that provide blessed relief from the heat. You can hear the bustling sounds of city life echoing from within, voices calling in the world's first urban symphony. Pass through the great gates now, and let yourself be amazed by the organized chaos of the world's first metropolis. Narrow streets wind between closely packed houses, their flat roofs creating a geometric pattern that stretches to the horizon. The air is filled with the sounds of commerce, the rhythmic hammering of metalworkers, the gentle bleating of goats and sheep, the calls of merchants advertising their wares in languages that sound musical and ancient. Follow the main thoroughfare as it leads toward the city's heart, where the great temple complex rises like a man-made mountain. This is the Anu Ziggurat, dedicated to the sky god, its stepped sides climbing toward the heavens in perfect symmetry. Each level is smaller than the one below, creating a pyramid-like structure that seems to bridge the gap between earth and sky. The whitewashed walls gleam brilliantly, visible from miles across the flat river plain. Climb the ceremonial steps slowly, feeling the smooth stone beneath your feet, worn smooth by countless pilgrims over hundreds of years. As you ascend, the city spreads out below you like a living map. You can see the orderly districts, the residential quarters where families live in multi-room houses, the craft workshops where pottery wheels spin endlessly, creating the vessels that will carry grain and oil throughout the known world. At the temple's summit, pause to absorb the magnitude of human achievement. From here, you can see the irrigation canals that snake through the surrounding fields, carrying life-giving water to crops of barley and wheat. These channels represent humanity's first great engineering triumph, the taming of the rivers, the transformation of marsh and desert into productive farmland that can feed a city. The evening air carries the scent of baking bread, roasting meat, and the earthy smell of the river. Mixed with these familiar aromas is something entirely new, the smell of civilization itself, of many people living and working together, of crafts and trades, of the first experiments in urban planning and social organization. As the sun begins to set over Uruk, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, you witness something remarkable. The world's first city lights beginning to flicker on, oil lamps glowing in windows, torches being lit in the temple courtyards, creating a warm constellation of human activity that mirrors the stars beginning to appear overhead. Let yourself feel the profound peace of this moment, as you stand witness to humanity's first great leap forward. Here in Uruk, people are learning to specialize, to become artisans and priests, administrators and farmers, each contributing their unique skills to the greater whole. This is the birth of complex society, unfolding as naturally as a flower opening to the sun. Breathe slowly, and let the gentle sounds of this ancient city carry you deeper into tranquility, as we prepare to explore more wonders of this remarkable civilization. Chapter 3. The Ziggurat of Ur. Stairway to Heaven. Let your breathing become even more peaceful now, as we journey through time and space, drifting gently to another jewel of ancient Mesopotamia, the magnificent city of Ur. Here, rising majestically from the desert sands, stands one of humanity's most awe-inspiring architectural achievements, the Great Ziggurat, a sacred mountain built by human hands, reaching toward the realm of the gods. Feel yourself approaching this wonder in the soft light of dawn, around 2100 BCE. The massive structure looms before you, its stepped sides climbing nearly 100 feet into the clear desert sky. Built from millions of mud bricks, each one carefully shaped and fired, the ziggurat's walls have weathered 4,000 years of sandstorms and scorching sun, yet still stand as testament to the devotion and skill of its builders. As you walk closer, notice how the morning light plays across the ziggurat's weathered surface. The bricks were once covered in brilliant blue glazed tiles, creating a structure that gleamed like a sapphire against the golden desert. Though time has worn away much of this decoration, you can still see traces of the original beauty, hints of the azure splendor that once made this temple visible from the horizon. Begin your ascent up the ceremonial stairway, feeling the ancient stones beneath your feet. Each step is wide and shallow, designed for the slow, reverent pace of religious procession. The stairs are flanked by massive walls that provide cooling shade, and as you climb, the desert breeze grows stronger, carrying with it the scent of distant rivers and the whispered prayers of countless pilgrims who have made this journey before you. Pause at the first terrace, and look back across the sprawling city of Ur. From this height, you can see the orderly grid of streets, the residential districts where families live in comfortable mud brick homes, their flat rooftops creating gardens where date palms and fig trees provide shade and sustenance. The city bustles with activity even in the early morning, merchants preparing their stalls, children playing in courtyards, the eternal rhythm of urban life. Continue climbing toward the second level, where the walls narrow and the sense of ascending toward heaven becomes more pronounced. Here, the priests of the moon god Nana once performed their daily rituals, tending the sacred flame that burned continuously, offering prayers and sacrifices on behalf of the entire community. The air feels thinner here, more sacred, as if the boundary between earth and sky has begun to dissolve. At the third and highest level, you reach the Holy of Holies, the small temple that crowns the ziggurat like a jewel. This intimate space, so high above the world below, was believed to be the dwelling place of the god himself. Here, in a room no larger than a modest house, the most sacred rituals were performed, connecting the earthbound city with the celestial realm above. From this sacred height, the view is breathtaking. The Euphrates River winds through the landscape like a silver serpent, its banks lined with the green of irrigated fields. Beyond the cultivated areas, the desert stretches endlessly, its golden dunes shifting slowly in patterns that seem to mirror the movement of clouds across the vast blue sky. This is the view of gods, the perspective of eternity. Feel the warm sun on your face as you stand in this holy place. The silence here is profound, broken only by the gentle whisper of wind through the ancient stones. This is where heaven and earth meet, where human ambition reaches toward the divine, where the people of came to feel connected to something greater than themselves. The ziggurat represents more than architecture. It embodies humanity's eternal desire to transcend, to build something lasting, to create beauty that honors both the gods and the remarkable capabilities of human cooperation. Every brick was placed with intention, every step carved with devotion, every level built with the collective dream of touching the infinite. As the sun climbs higher, casting the ziggurat's shadow across the ancient city, you feel a deep sense of peace settling over you. This monument to faith and human achievement has stood for millennia, witnessing the rise and fall of empires, yet remaining constant, eternal, a bridge between the mortal world and the realm of dreams. Let that profound tranquility wash over you now, feeling yourself connected to the countless souls who have stood in this sacred place, all seeking the same peace, the same connection to something greater than themselves. Breathe slowly, and let the timeless serenity of this holy mountain carry you deeper into restful contemplation. Chapter 4. Cuneiform, the birth of writing. Allow your mind to drift peacefully now, as we descend from the sacred heights of the ziggurat, and enter the quiet chambers of a Sumerian temple school. Here, in rooms cooled by thick mud brick walls, something miraculous is taking place. Humanity is learning to capture thoughts and words, to make the spoken word permanent, to give birth to writing itself. Feel yourself settling into this serene scriptorium, around 3200 BCE. The air is cool and still, filled with the earthy scent of wet clay and the gentle sounds of concentrated work. Before you sits a master scribe, his weathered hands moving with practiced grace, pressing a reed stylus into a soft clay tablet. Each mark he makes is deliberate, purposeful, creating the world's first written language, cuneiform. Watch as he dips his reed pen into water, keeping the clay surface perfectly moist. The stylus is cut from a marsh reed, its triangular tip creating distinctive wedge-shaped marks when pressed into the clay. These simple impressions, these tiny triangular indentations, represent one of humanity's greatest leaps forward, the ability to preserve knowledge beyond the limits of human memory. Observe the scribe's tablet as it takes shape beneath his skilled hands. The clay is smooth and gray, carefully prepared from the rich river mud that has nourished this civilization. Each cuneiform sign begins as a series of wedges, some horizontal, some vertical, some diagonal, combining to create symbols that represent not just objects, but ideas, sounds, abstract concepts that had never before been captured in permanent form. Listen to the soft, rhythmic sound of stylus meeting clay, like gentle raindrops on a still pond. The scribe works from left to right, then right to left, creating neat rows of symbols that tell stories, record laws, preserve the wisdom of kings and the prayers of priests. This is the birth of literature, of history, of all the written knowledge that will follow for thousands of years to come. In the corner of the room, young apprentices practice their letters on smaller tablets. Their movements are less sure, more tentative, as they learn to control the pressure of the stylus, to create clean, clear wedges that will communicate across time and space. The soft murmur of their concentration adds to the peaceful atmosphere, like the gentle hum of bees in a summer garden. Feel the weight of a clay tablet in your own hands, still warm and slightly damp from the potter's wheel. The surface is smooth as silk, ready to receive the first marks of written language. As you hold this simple piece of clay, you're holding the future of human communication, the foundation upon which all books, all libraries, all written knowledge will be built. The symbols themselves are beautiful in their simplicity. A bird is represented by a few curved lines, water by wavy horizontal marks, the sun by a circle with rays extending outward. But gradually, these pictographs evolve into something more sophisticated, becoming phonetic symbols that represent sounds rather than just objects, allowing scribes to write any word, any thought, any dream that can be spoken. Around you, the temple school hums with quiet activity. Shelves line the walls, filled with thousands of tablets containing everything from business contracts to epic poems, mathematical calculations to astronomical observations. This is humanity's first library, the world's initial attempt to gather and preserve knowledge for future generations. The afternoon light filters through small windows, casting gentle shadows across the work tables. The scribes continue their patient labor, some copying ancient texts to preserve them, others creating new works, recording the daily life of their city, the decisions of their rulers, the stories of their gods. Each tablet represents hours of careful work, a permanent record that will survive long after its creator has returned to dust. As the day progresses, completed tablets are carefully arranged on drying racks, where they will slowly harden in the warm Mesopotamian air. Once dry, they will be fired in kilns, transforming soft clay into permanent ceramic, ensuring that these first written words will endure for millennia, waiting patiently to tell their stories to future civilizations. Feel the profound peace that comes from witnessing this quiet revolution. This is not conquest or construction, but something far more powerful, the birth of human memory made permanent, the first step toward preserving the accumulated wisdom of our species. In this calm, contemplative room, the future of human knowledge is being written, one careful wedge at a time. Breathe slowly, and let the gentle rhythm O.F. stylus on clay carry you deeper into tranquil rest, as the miracle of written language unfolds in the patient hands of history's first scribes. Chapter 5. The Epic of Gilgamesh. First story. Let yourself drift deeper into peaceful contemplation, as we journey to a quiet corner of ancient Uruk, where an elderly scribe sits by lamplight, carefully inscribing humanity's first great story onto clay tablets. Feel the warm glow of the oil flame, casting dancing shadows on the walls, as the world's oldest epic poem takes shape beneath patient hands. This is the story of Gilgamesh, king of Uruk, 2/3 divine and 1/3 human, whose adventures will echo through literature for thousands of years to come. Settle comfortably as we witness the birth of storytelling itself, around 2100 BCE, when oral traditions first became written legend, preserved forever in the wedge-shaped marks of cuneiform script. The scribe's voice is soft and melodious as he recites while writing, telling of Gilgamesh the mighty, builder of walls, protector of his people, yet restless and searching for meaning beyond his earthly power. The clay tablet grows heavy with words, each symbol pressed with reverence, for this is no ordinary tale, but humanity's first exploration of friendship, mortality, and the search for immortal fame. Listen as the story unfolds. Gilgamesh meets Enkidu, the wild man created by the gods to challenge the king's pride. At first they fight, their battle shaking the very foundations of Uruk, but conflict transforms into the deepest friendship, two souls recognizing their perfect complement in each other. Feel the warmth of this ancient bond, the first literary celebration of human connection. Together, the friends embark on great adventures, traveling to the cedar forest to battle the monster Humbaba, their footsteps echoing through primeval woods. The scribe's stylus moves steadily, capturing their courage, their loyalty, their joy in shared purpose. The lamplight flickers gently, creating an atmosphere of timeless wonder as these immortal characters come to life in clay. But tragedy strikes when Enkidu falls ill and dies, leaving Gilgamesh consumed by grief and terror of his own mortality. The king's anguish is palpable, written in symbols that carry the weight of universal human sorrow. This is literature's first great meditation on loss, on the pain that comes with loving deeply, on the shadow that death casts over all earthly joy. Driven by grief, Gilgamesh begins his most important journey, seeking Unapishtim, the survivor of the Great Flood, hoping to learn the secret of eternal life. Follow him across vast deserts, through mountain passes, to the edge of the world itself. The scribe's hand moves with practiced grace, each cuneiform mark building toward the story's profound conclusion. At the world's end, Gilgamesh learns that immortality belongs only to the gods, but he discovers something more valuable. That meaning comes not from living forever, but from the deeds we do, the love we share, the legacy we leave behind. The wise Unapishtim teaches him that true immortality lies in being remembered, in the stories told about us after we're gone. The scribe pauses, dipping his stylus in water, as Gilgamesh returns to Uruk transformed, no longer seeking to escape his humanity, but embracing it fully. The king looks upon his city with new eyes, seeing beauty in its temporary nature, finding peace in accepting both life's joys and sorrows. This is wisdom, captured forever in clay. As the final tablet nears completion, feel the profound tranquility of this moment. The world's first epic poem, exploring themes that will resonate through every story that follows: friendship and loss, adventure and wisdom, the search for meaning in a finite existence. All of human experience, distilled into symbols pressed into river clay. The lamp burns lower now, casting softer shadows, as the scribe carefully places the completed tablets on their drying shelf. These 12 tablets contain humanity's first masterpiece, a story that will survive the fall of empires, outlasting the very civilization that created it, proving that some truths are indeed eternal. In the gentle darkness, surrounded by thousands of other tablets, the Epic of Gilgamesh rests quietly, waiting to inspire countless generations of storytellers, poets, and dreamers. This is where literature begins, in the patient hands of an ancient scribe, working by lamplight, giving permanent form to the stories that define us. Breathe deeply, and let the timeless wisdom of this first great tale carry you into peaceful rest, knowing that the best stories, like the deepest truths, are eternal. Chapter 6. Babylon. City of wonders, let your breathing slow and deepen, as we drift northward along the gentle Euphrates, to where the greatest city of the ancient world rises from the fertile plains. Babylon, whose very name means, gate of the gods. Feel yourself approaching this marvel around 600 BCE, when the city has reached the height of its splendor under King Nebuchadnezzar. The massive walls of Babylon stretch before you, rising nearly 300 feet into the azure sky. These are not mere fortifications but works of art, faced with brilliant blue glazed bricks adorned with golden lions, dragons, and bulls. The famous Ishtar Gate gleams in the afternoon sun, its deep blue surface decorated with over 500 sacred animals, each one crafted with exquisite detail. Pass through this magnificent portal, and enter the most cosmopolitan city the world has ever known. The streets are wide and straight, paved with smooth stones that feel cool beneath your feet. Palm trees line the boulevards, their fronds rustling softly in the warm breeze, providing blessed shade for the merchants and travelers who come here from every corner of the known world. Follow the grand processional way as it leads toward the city's heart, where the Tower of Babel rises like a mountain of brick and bitumen. This ziggurat, called a Tamenanki by the Babylonians, climbs nearly 300 feet skyward, its 7 terraces painted in different colors, creating a rainbow stairway to heaven. The structure is so massive that its shadow falls across entire city districts. But Babylon's greatest wonder awaits in the royal quarter, where the legendary hanging gardens cascade down terraced walls like a green waterfall. Though you cannot see the elaborate irrigation system hidden within the walls, you can hear the gentle sound of water flowing through channels, feeding the exotic plants and trees that King Nebuchadnezzar created for his homesick queen. Climb the garden terraces slowly, feeling the cool mist from hidden fountains on your skin. Each level reveals new marvels: date palms from the south, cedar trees from distant mountains, flowering vines that perfume the air with their sweet fragrance. This is paradise made manifest, a testament to human ingenuity and the power of love to move mountains. From the highest garden terrace, the entire city spreads below you like a living map. You can see the great palace complex with its throne room large enough to hold 1,000 courtiers, the temple of Marduk where priests tend eternal flames, the residential districts where families live in comfortable homes built around peaceful courtyards. The Euphrates flows through Babylon's heart, spanned by a remarkable bridge that connects the old city with the new. Boats drift lazily along the river, their sails catching the evening breeze, carrying goods and passengers between the great cities of Mesopotamia. The water reflects the golden light of sunset, creating a pathway of liquid fire that stretches to the horizon. As twilight approaches, oil lamps begin to flicker in windows throughout the city, creating a constellation of warm light that mirrors the stars appearing overhead. The air carries the scent of cooking fires, exotic spices from distant lands, and the ever-present fragrance of the hanging gardens. This is civilization at its most refined, most beautiful, most peaceful. In the distance, you can hear the soft chanting of priests in the great temple, the gentle splash of fountains in private gardens, the murmur of evening conversations as families gather for their meals. Babylon pulses with life, yet maintains an atmosphere of serene grandeur that speaks to the soul. This city represents the culmination of 3,000 years of Mesopotamian civilization. Here, art and architecture, literature and law, astronomy and mathematics have reached heights that will not be surpassed for centuries. Yet for all its grandeur, Babylon remains fundamentally human in scale. A place where people live and love, work and dream, just as they always have. Feel the profound peace that emanates from this ancient metropolis. This is what humans can accomplish when they work together, when they channel their energies toward creation rather than destruction, when they dare to build something beautiful that will outlast their own brief lives. The night air grows cooler now, carrying with it the timeless tranquility of this greatest of ancient cities. Let yourself be embraced by Babylon's eternal serenity, feeling connected to all who have walked these streets before you. Breathe gently, and let the wonder of this magnificent city carry you deeper into peaceful rest. Chapter 7. The Hanging Gardens, Lost Paradise. Allow yourself to drift into deeper tranquility, as we enter the most enchanting wonder of the ancient world, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Feel the cool morning mist on your skin as you approach this lost paradise, built by King Nebuchadnezzar around 600 BCE as a gift of love for his homesick queen. Amytis of Media, step through the garden's entrance, and immediately feel the temperature drop. The air here is humid and sweet, filled with the fragrance of exotic blooms and the gentle sound of flowing water. Above you, terraced gardens rise like a green mountain, each level supported by massive stone arches that seem to defy gravity. This is paradise engineered, nature perfected by human ingenuity. Begin your ascent up the marble steps, worn smooth by countless royal feet. Each terrace reveals new wonders. The first level spreads before you like a carpet of flowers. Roses from Damascus, jasmine from distant mountains, their petals releasing perfume with every gentle breeze. Palm trees provide cooling shade, their fronds rustling softly like whispered prayers. Climb higher, to the second terrace, where fruit trees heavy with dates and figs create natural pavilions. The branches intertwine overhead, filtering the harsh Mesopotamian sun into dappled patterns of light and shadow. Hidden channels carry water through the garden, the liquid music of fountains creating a constant, soothing symphony. On the third level, discover the engineering marvel that makes this paradise possible. Bronze pipes, green with age, carry river water up through the garden's heart, powered by an ingenious system of chain pumps and water wheels. The Babylonian engineers have conquered gravity itself, bringing the life-giving Euphrates to these elevated gardens. Feel the cool spray from a hidden fountain as you reach the fourth terrace. Here, cedar trees from Lebanon stretch their ancient branches toward the sky, their resinous scent mixing with the perfume of flowering vines. Peacocks strut across manicured lawns, their jeweled plumage catching the filtered sunlight. This is the queen's private retreat, where she could remember the green hills of her homeland. The fifth level opens into a series of intimate grottos, each one designed for quiet contemplation. Stone benches carved with cuneiform inscriptions invite rest, while artificial streams wind between beds of lilies and lotus blossoms. The sound of water over stone creates a natural lullaby, washing away the dust and heat of the desert city below. Ascend to the sixth terrace, where the garden's crown jewel awaits. a magnificent pavilion surrounded by the rarest trees in the known world. Here, the queen would spend her evenings, cooled by mountain breezes that the garden's design somehow captures and channels. The view extends across all of Babylon, the great ziggurat, the blue-tiled walls, the silver ribbon of the Euphrates. At the garden's summit, pause in wonder at this triumph of love and engineering. Every plant has been chosen for beauty, every tree positioned for maximum shade, every fountain placed to create the perfect harmony of sight and sound. This is what devotion can accomplish, what human creativity can achieve when inspired by love. The irrigation system works tirelessly, invisible servants carrying water from the river far below, up through the garden's 7 levels, nourishing this oasis in the desert. The technology is so advanced that it seems almost magical, water flowing upward, defying nature to create this hanging paradise. As afternoon shadows lengthen, the garden takes on an ethereal quality. Mist from the fountains catches the golden light, creating tiny rainbows that dance among the leaves. The air grows cooler, more fragrant, as evening flowers begin to open, releasing their nocturnal perfumes into the gathering dusk. Birds nest in the highest branches, their evening songs adding to the garden's peaceful chorus. Butterflies drift between the blossoms like living jewels, while the gentle splash of fountains provides a constant, meditative rhythm. This is serenity made manifest, tranquility given physical form. Though these gardens have long since crumbled to dust, their memory lives on, a testament to the power of love to create beauty, to the human desire to build paradise on earth. In this lost wonder, we see our eternal longing for peace, for harmony between humanity and nature, for places where the soul can rest. Let the imagined fragrance of these ancient blooms fill your senses. Feel the cool mist of fountains that flowed 4,000 years ago. Listen to the whisper of leaves that once shaded a lonely queen, far from her mountain home. Breathe deeply, and let the eternal peace of this lost paradise carry you into gentle dreams. Chapter 8. Hammurabi's Code. First laws. Let your mind drift peacefully backward through time, to ancient Babylon around 1750 BCE, where King Hammurabi sits in quiet contemplation, preparing to give humanity its first written code of laws. Feel yourself entering the royal palace, where scribes work by lamplight, carefully inscribing justice itself onto clay tablets, and preparing the great stone stele that will stand as an eternal monument to fairness. In the palace courtyard, a massive block of black diorite awaits the stone carvers. This 7-foot pillar will soon bear nearly 300 laws, each one designed to protect the weak, regulate commerce, and ensure that justice flows like water through every level of society. The stone's surface is smooth as silk, polished to mirror perfection, ready to receive the most important text in human history. Watch as the master carver begins his sacred work. His bronze chisel moves with practiced precision, cutting cuneiform symbols deep into the hard stone. Each character must be perfect, for these laws will govern the lives of millions. The rhythmic tapping of metal on stone creates a meditative rhythm, like a heartbeat that will pulse through civilization for millennia to come. At the steel's top, artisans carve a relief showing Hammurabi receiving the laws directly from Shamash, the sun god of justice. The king stands humbly before the deity, his hand raised in reverence, while divine flames emanate from the god's shoulders. This is not mere human legislation, but sacred law, handed down from heaven itself. The laws themselves are marvels of clarity and fairness. If a man steals a sheep, he shall pay 10 sheep. If a surgeon saves a life, he shall receive 10 silver pieces. Each statute addresses real situations, real problems that arise when people live together in cities. The code covers everything from property rights to family disputes, from business contracts to criminal punishment. Feel the weight of justice as these ancient laws take shape. For the first time in history, rich and poor will be subject to the same written standards. No longer can the powerful abuse the weak in darkness, for the law shines like sunlight, illuminating every corner of society. The concept of an eye for an eye ensures that punishment fits the crime, bringing balance to a chaotic world. In the palace scriptorium, dozens of scribes create copies of the code on clay tablets. Their reed styluses move steadily across the soft clay, preserving each law with careful precision. These tablets will be distributed throughout the empire, posted in marketplaces and temple courtyards, ensuring that every citizen can know their rights and obligations. The afternoon sun streams through high windows, casting golden light across the working scribes. The air is filled with the earthy scent of wet clay and the soft scratch of stylus on tablet. This is civilization's most important workshop, where abstract concepts of justice become concrete reality, where fairness transforms from dream to law. As evening approaches, the great stele nears completion. Its black surface gleams in the lamplight, covered with row upon row of cuneiform text. This monument will stand in Babylon's central square, where citizens can read the laws that govern them, where merchants can resolve disputes, where the promise of equal justice becomes visible and permanent. The code represents more than mere rules. It embodies humanity's first systematic attempt to create a just society. Here are laws protecting women's property rights, regulations ensuring fair wages for workers, statutes governing the responsibilities of professionals. This is civilization learning to govern itself through reason rather than force. Listen to the gentle evening sounds of the palace, oil lamps flickering in their niches, scribes quietly discussing legal precedents, the distant murmur of the city settling into night. In this peaceful atmosphere, the foundations of all future legal systems are being carefully laid, one cuneiform symbol at a time. The completed stele will stand for over 1,000 years, surviving conquests and dynasties, its laws copied and adapted by civilizations across the ancient world. Even when Babylon falls, Hammurabi's vision of written justice will endure, spreading like seeds on the wind, taking root in every society that values fairness over chaos. Feel the profound tranquility that comes from witnessing this birth of justice. In this quiet palace workshop, humanity is learning that law, not force, should govern human relations, that written standards, fairly applied, create the foundation for peaceful civilization. Breathe slowly, and let the eternal promise of equal justice carry you deeper into restful peace, knowing that some human achievements, like the dream of fairness, are truly timeless. Chapter 9. Nineveh. Library of Ashurbanipal. Let yourself drift gently northward, along the banks of the Tigris River, to the great Assyrian capital of Nineveh, where King Ashurbanipal has created something unprecedented, the world's first organized library. Feel the cool morning air as you approach this treasure house of human knowledge, around 650 BCE, where 30,000 clay tablets hold the wisdom of ages. Enter the royal palace through corridors lined with magnificent stone reliefs. Lions and eagles carved in perfect detail watch over your passage. The walls tell stories of royal hunts and divine protection, but your destination lies deeper within, in quiet chambers dedicated not to war, but to the peaceful pursuit of knowledge. Step into the library's main hall, and feel immediately the sacred atmosphere of learning. Tall cedar shelves stretch from floor to ceiling, each one carefully organized and labeled. The tablets are arranged by subject, literature in one section, mathematics in another, astronomy, medicine, law, and religion each having their designated space. This is humanity's memory made manifest. The air is cool and dry, perfect for preserving the precious clay tablets. Scribes move quietly between the shelves, their soft footsteps muffled by thick carpets. Some copy ancient texts to preserve them, others catalog new acquisitions, their reed styluses creating gentle scratching sounds that blend into a soothing symphony of scholarship. Approach one of the reading tables, where scholars from across the empire come to study. The surface is smooth marble, cool to the touch, with shallow grooves carved to hold tablets at the perfect reading angle. Oil lamps provide steady light, their flames protected by glass shields that cast no flickering shadows to strain the eyes. Here rests a copy of the Epic of Gilgamesh, its 12 tablets containing the complete story. Beside it lies a mathematical text explaining the movements of planets, and next to that, a medical treatise describing surgical procedures. This is knowledge without borders, wisdom gathered from every corner of the known world. King Ashurbanipal himself was a scholar, the only Assyrian king who could read and write. He sent agents throughout his empire to collect texts, copying everything from Sumerian hymns to Babylonian astronomical charts. His goal was ambitious: to gather all human knowledge in one place, creating an eternal repository of learning. In the tablet storage rooms, thousands of clay documents rest in perfect order. Each one bears a library stamp, marking it as part of the royal collection. The tablets are stored in wicker baskets, carefully cushioned with soft cloth. Some are over 1,000 years old, ancient even to the Assyrians, yet preserved here for future generations. The library's copying workshop hums with quiet activity. Master scribes train apprentices in the ancient art of cuneiform, teaching them to read languages that predate their own civilization. Akkadian, Sumerian, Babylonian, each script requires years to master, but here the knowledge passes from teacher to student in an unbroken chain. Sunlight filters through high windows, illuminating motes of dust that dance like tiny spirits in the still air. The atmosphere is one of profound peace, of reverence for the accumulated wisdom of humanity. This is civilization's greatest treasure, more valuable than gold or precious stones, the preserved thoughts of countless generations. Browse among the tablets and discover wonders: star charts that map the heavens, medical texts describing the healing properties of plants, epic poems that sing of heroes and gods, legal documents that show how ancient peoples resolved their disputes. Each tablet is a window into the past, a voice speaking across the centuries. The library represents more than mere collection. It embodies the belief that knowledge should be preserved, shared, passed down through generations. Here, for the first time, humanity creates an institution dedicated solely to learning, a place where wisdom can grow and flourish. As afternoon shadows lengthen across the reading tables, scholars continue their quiet work, copying, translating, preserving. The library will survive for centuries, its tablets eventually buried by time, waiting patiently to be rediscovered by archaeologists who will marvel at this ancient commitment to learning. Feel the deep tranquility that emanates from this temple of knowledge. In these peaceful halls, surrounded by the wisdom of ages, you can sense humanity's eternal desire to understand, to learn, to preserve what matters most for those who come after. Let that profound serenity wash over you now, the peace that comes from being surrounded by knowledge, by the patient accumulation of human understanding. Breathe gently, and let the timeless quiet of this ancient library carry you deeper into restful contemplation. Chapter 10. The Ishtar Gate. Blue Majesty. Allow yourself to drift peacefully back to ancient Babylon, where the morning sun rises over the most magnificent gateway ever built by human hands. The Ishtar Gate. Feel the cool desert air as you approach this marvel of blue-glazed brick, dedicated to the goddess of love and war. Around 575 BCE, during the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar. Stand before this towering wonder, and let your eyes adjust to its breathtaking beauty. The gate rises nearly 50 feet into the clear Mesopotamian sky, its entire surface covered in brilliant blue-glazed bricks that seem to capture and hold the very essence of heaven. This deep, lustrous blue creates an almost hypnotic effect, like gazing into the depths of a perfect sapphire. Step closer to admire the intricate decorations that adorn every surface. Golden lions stride majestically across the blue background, their manes flowing, their eyes alert and proud. These are the sacred animals of Ishtar, symbols of royal power and divine protection. Each lion is crafted with exquisite detail, the glazed tiles creating texture and depth that makes them seem almost alive. Above the lions, Mythical dragons called Mushhushu march in eternal procession, their serpentine necks curved gracefully, their scaled bodies gleaming with golden highlights against the azure background. These creatures belong to Marduk, chief god of Babylon, their presence blessing all who pass beneath the gate's protective arch. Walk through the massive archway, feeling the cool shade provided by the thick walls. The passage is lined with more glazed decorations, creating a tunnel of blue light that transforms the simple act of entering the city into a sacred experience. Your footsteps echo softly against the polished brick floor, worn smooth by countless pilgrims and merchants over the centuries. The craftsmanship is extraordinary. Each glazed brick was individually molded and fired, then carefully fitted into place like pieces of an enormous puzzle. The blue glaze contains lapis lazuli, that precious stone more valuable than gold, ground to powder and mixed with the ceramic coating. This is why the color seems to glow from within, lit by an inner fire. Emerge from the gate onto Babylon's grand processional way, and turn back to appreciate the full majesty of this architectural marvel. The outer facade is even more elaborate, with additional rows of bulls representing Adad, the storm god. Their powerful forms seem to guard the entrance, their horned heads raised in eternal vigilance. The gate serves as more than mere decoration, it is a statement of Babylonian power and sophistication. Visitors from distant lands gasp in wonder at this display of wealth and artistry. The message is clear: a civilization that can create such beauty commands respect, reverence, and perhaps a touch of divine favor. Listen to the gentle sounds around the gate, the soft conversations of merchants preparing their caravans, the distant calls of vendors in the marketplace beyond, the whisper of wind through the palm trees that line the processional route. All of these sounds seem muted, made more peaceful by the gate's serene presence. The afternoon light plays across the glazed surface, creating subtle shifts in color and tone. Sometimes the blue appears deep as midnight, other times bright as a summer sky. The golden animals seem to move in this changing light, their forms shifting and dancing as shadows pass across their glazed surfaces. During religious festivals, the gate becomes the focal point of grand processions. Priests in white robes carry sacred statues through the archway, while citizens line the route, their voices raised in ancient hymns. The blue walls seem to amplify these songs, creating a natural acoustic chamber that lifts prayers toward heaven. As evening approaches, oil lamps are lit in niches along the gate's walls. Their warm light mingles with the cool blue of the glazed bricks, creating a magical atmosphere that transforms the entrance into something otherworldly. This is when the gate reveals its true purpose, not just as a barrier, but as a threshold between the earthly city and the realm of the gods. The Ishtar Gate represents the pinnacle of Mesopotamian artistic achievement, combining religious devotion, royal power, and technical mastery into a single, harmonious whole. Every element serves both practical and spiritual purposes, creating architecture that nourishes the soul while protecting the body. Feel the deep peace that emanates from this ancient masterpiece. In its perfect blue serenity, you can sense the eternal human desire to create beauty, to honor the divine, to build something that will inspire wonder for generations to come. Breathe slowly, and let the timeless majesty of this blue gateway carry you into gentle rest, surrounded by the protective presence of golden lions and mythical guardians. Chapter 11. Eridu. The first city. Let your consciousness drift gently southward, to the very edge of the Persian Gulf, where humanity's oldest city emerges from the morning mist. Eridu, the first settlement to bear the name, city. Feel yourself approaching this sacred place around 5400 BCE, where the transition from wandering tribes to settled civilization first began, in the soft light of dawn. Stand on the ancient shoreline, where the Euphrates once met the sea, and breathe in the salt-tinged air. Before you rises a modest settlement, perhaps only a few hundred souls, yet this humble beginning will change the course of human history forever. The reed houses cluster around a small temple, their walls woven from marsh plants that sway gently in the coastal breeze. Walk among the world's first permanent dwellings, feeling the soft earth beneath your feet, still damp from the morning dew. These early homes are simple but ingenious, built on raised platforms to protect against seasonal floods, their walls made from bundled reeds sealed with river mud. The curved rooflines create graceful silhouettes against the pale sky. At the settlement's heart stands the first temple ever built, a modest shrine dedicated to Enki, god of fresh water and wisdom. The structure is small, no larger than a village house, yet it represents humanity's first attempt to create a permanent dwelling place for the divine. The walls are made of sun-dried brick, the world's first manufactured building material. Listen to the peaceful sounds of this ancient morning. The gentle lapping of water against reed boats, the soft calls of marsh birds beginning their day, the quiet conversations of families preparing their meals. This is civilization in its infancy, innocent and hopeful, unaware of the great cities and empires that will follow. The people of Eridu are fishermen and farmers, their lives governed by the rhythms of water and season. They have learned to cultivate barley in the fertile mud left by floods, to weave baskets from marsh reeds, to fire clay pots in simple kilns. These basic innovations will become the foundation stones of all future technology. Follow a narrow path to the temple's entrance, where the world's first priest tends a small fire. The flame burns continuously, fed by offerings of fish oil and grain. This is humanity's first attempt at organized religion, the beginning of the relationship between earthly communities and divine powers. The smoke rises straight up in the still air, carrying prayers to heaven. Inside the temple, the atmosphere is cool and reverent. Sunlight filters through small windows, illuminating simple clay vessels filled with offerings, barley, dates, fresh fish from the nearby waters. The floor is packed earth, worn smooth by countless bare feet. This humble space contains the seeds of all future temples, cathedrals, and sacred architecture. Near the temple, archaeologists will someday discover the world's oldest cemetery, where Eridu's people buried their dead with simple grave goods, pottery vessels, shell ornaments, tools for the afterlife. These burials reveal humanity's first organized thoughts about death, memory, and the continuation of existence beyond earthly life. The settlement's location is perfect, where fresh river water meets the salt sea, where fish are abundant and soil is fertile. The early inhabitants have chosen wisely, creating a sustainable community that will endure for thousands of years, growing slowly from village to town to city. As the sun climbs higher, casting longer shadow across the reed houses, you witness the daily miracle of cooperation? People working together, sharing resources, creating something greater than any individual could achieve alone. This is the birth of society itself, the first experiment in collective human living. The children of Eridu play simple games in the dusty streets, their laughter echoing off the temple walls. They are the first urban children, growing up in permanent homes, learning crafts from their parents, inheriting a way of life that will be passed down through generations. This is cultural continuity beginning. In the distance, other small settlements dot the landscape, connected by waterways and footpaths. Trade is beginning, the exchange of goods and ideas that will eventually span continents. Eridu is not alone, but part of a growing network of human communities choosing permanence over wandering. Feel the profound tranquility of this moment, when humanity first decided to stay in one place, to build rather than simply survive, to create lasting homes for both people and gods. In this quiet morning scene, the entire future of civilization is taking its first tentative steps. Breathe gently, and let the peaceful simplicity of humanity's first city carry you into restful dreams, where the sound of ancient waters laps against shores that witnessed our species' greatest transformation. Chapter 12. The Tigris and Euphrates. Life rivers, let yourself float gently above the ancient landscape, where two mighty rivers carve their eternal paths through the heart of Mesopotamia, Feel the cool morning mist rising from the waters as you drift alongside the Tigris and Euphrates, these twin arteries of civilization that have nourished humanity for over 6,000 years. Begin your journey at the river's source, high in the mountains of ancient Anatolia, where snowmelt and spring rains gather into streams that will become the lifeblood of empires. The water is crystal clear here, cold and swift, carrying with it the precious gift that will transform desert into garden, wilderness into the cradle of human civilization. Follow the Euphrates as it winds southward, growing broader and more majestic with each mile. The river moves with patient power, its current steady and reliable, carrying not just water but the rich mountain soil that will create the fertile plains below. Along its banks, wild grasses wave in the gentle breeze, and date palms cast cooling shadows on the muddy shores. The Tigris flows parallel to its sister river, swifter and more unpredictable, its name meaning arrow in the ancient tongue. This river carries a different energy, more turbulent, more prone to sudden floods that can both destroy and renew. Together, these waters create the rhythm of Mesopotamian life, the cycle of flood and harvest that governs all human activity. Drift down to where the rivers enter the great alluvial plain, and witness the miracle of their annual gift. Each spring, melting snow in distant mountains sends torrents of water southward, carrying millions of tons of fertile silt. When the floods recede, they leave behind the rich black earth that will feed civilizations for millennia. Watch early farmers learning to work with these mighty forces. They dig the first irrigation channels, simple ditches that guide river water to their fields. The sound of flowing water through these canals creates a gentle music, the song of human cooperation with nature. This is the birth of agriculture on a grand scale, the foundation of urban civilization. The rivers teem with life. Fish swim in silver schools through the clear water, while herons and ibises wade in the shallows, hunting for their morning meals. Reed beds provide nesting places for countless waterfowl, their calls creating a natural symphony that echoes across the water. This abundance will sustain not just wildlife, but the growing human populations along the banks. Between the rivers, the land stretches flat and fertile, crisscrossed by an ever-growing network of canals and waterways. From above, this irrigation system looks like the veins of some great living organism, carrying life-giving water to every corner of the cultivated world. Cities rise at strategic points along these waterways, their locations chosen for access to this liquid highway. The rivers serve as more than just sources of water. They are highways for trade and communication. Reed boats and wooden barges drift lazily downstream, carrying grain from northern farms to southern cities, pottery and textiles traveling upstream to mountain communities. The gentle current provides natural transportation, connecting distant peoples through commerce and culture. As the day progresses, the rivers reflect the changing sky like liquid mirrors. Sometimes blue as lapis lazuli, sometimes golden as burnished bronze. The water's surface ripples with gentle waves, creating patterns that shift and dance in the sunlight. This beauty has inspired countless poets and artists throughout the ages. Along the riverbanks, ancient cities rise and fall like dreams. Babylon with its hanging gardens, Ur with its great ziggurat, Nineveh with its royal palaces, each one dependent on these waters for survival. Each one shaped by the rhythm of flood and drought that governs life in this land between rivers. The evening brings a tranquility to the waters. As the sun sets, the rivers become streams of liquid gold, reflecting the colors of the sky in perfect stillness. Night birds begin their calls, and the gentle sound of water flowing over ancient stones creates a natural lullaby that has soothed countless generations. Feel the eternal peace of these ancient waters, flowing as they have for thousands of years, carrying with them the memories of all the civilizations they have nourished. In their steady current, you can sense the continuity of life, the patient persistence of nature, the quiet power that shapes human destiny. These rivers represent more than geography. They embody the relationship between humanity and the natural world. showing how cooperation with natural forces creates abundance, while resistance brings only struggle. This is wisdom written in water, lessons carved by current and flood. Breathe deeply, and let the gentle flow of these eternal rivers carry you into peaceful rest, feeling yourself supported by waters that have sustained civilization since the dawn of human history. Chapter 13. Akkad, Empire of Sargon. Let your mind drift peacefully northward, to where the world's first empire rises from the Mesopotamian plains. Feel yourself approaching the great city of Akkad around 2334 BCE. Where Sargon the Great has united the warring city-states under one rule, creating something unprecedented in human history, a realm that stretches from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean Sea. Walk through Akkad's bronze gates, feeling the smooth stone beneath your feet. The city bustles with activity unlike any settlement before it. Here, Sumerian merchants speak with traders from distant mountains. Akkadian scribes record tribute from conquered cities, and artisans craft goods that will travel to the edges of the known world. This is cosmopolitan life beginning, the first truly international community. In the royal palace, King Sargon sits in quiet contemplation, his weathered hands holding clay tablets that report from every corner of his vast domain. Born a foundling, discovered floating in a reed basket on the Euphrates, he has risen to become the most powerful man on earth. Yet his expression is peaceful, that of a ruler who governs through wisdom rather than fear alone. The palace walls are adorned with the world's first imperial art. Bronze reliefs show Akkadian soldiers marching in perfect formation, their spears glinting in the lamplight. But these are not scenes of conquest alone. Other panels depict peaceful activities, farmers bringing in harvests, craftsmen at their work, children playing in palace gardens. This empire celebrates both strength and prosperity. Follow the corridors to the royal archives, where scribes maintain records in both Sumerian and Akkadian languages. The sound of styluses on clay creates a gentle rhythm, like rain on a quiet pond. These tablets contain the administrative genius that holds the empire together: tax records, legal decisions, diplomatic correspondence, the paperwork of civilization itself. In the city's workshop district, artisans create goods of unprecedented sophistication. Bronze workers forge weapons and tools stronger than any made before. Jewelers craft ornaments using techniques learned from conquered peoples. The air fills with the sounds of hammers on metal, the whisper of bellows feeding forge fires, the quiet concentration of master craftsmen. The empire's roads stretch like arteries from Akkad's heart, carrying messengers and merchants to distant provinces. These are the world's first highways, maintained by imperial engineers, marked with stone monuments bearing Sargon's name. Along these routes, ideas travel as freely as goods, spreading Akkadian culture while absorbing wisdom from subject peoples. Visit the great temple of Ishtar, where priests from many lands serve together. The goddess of love and war has become patron of this new empire, her worship uniting diverse peoples under common rituals. The temple's incense carries prayers in a dozen languages, while the eternal flame burns oil contributed by cities from across the realm. In the royal gardens, exotic plants from conquered territories grow side by side. Cedar saplings from Lebanon, date palms from the south, flowering vines from mountain valleys. This botanical collection represents the empire's reach, bringing the beauty of distant lands to Akkad's heart. The garden paths wind between pools where lotus blossoms float like stars. As evening approaches, the city takes on a golden glow. Oil lamps flicker in windows throughout the residential districts, where Akkadian families live alongside Sumerian neighbors, former enemies now united in common purpose. The sounds of different languages blend into a harmonious urban symphony, the music of successful integration. Sargon's greatest achievement lies not in conquest but in administration. He has created the world's first professional army, the first postal system, the first standardized weights and measures. These innovations will outlast his dynasty, becoming the foundation for all future empires. The quiet efficiency of imperial bureaucracy hums through every palace corridor. The empire represents humanity's first experiment in large-scale organization. Here, people learn that cooperation across tribal boundaries creates prosperity, that diversity strengthens rather than weakens society, that skilled administration can maintain peace across vast distances. These lessons echo through history, influencing every civilization that follows. From Akkad's highest tower, the view encompasses the entire known world. To the south, Sumerian cities continue their ancient traditions, now protected by Akkadian armies. To the north, mountain peoples bring tribute of metals and timber. To the east and west, trade routes carry Mesopotamian goods to distant shores. This is the first global economy, managed from a single administrative center. Feel the profound tranquility that comes from witnessing successful unity. In Akkad's peaceful streets, former enemies work together, different cultures blend harmoniously, and the dream of universal peace seems almost within reach. This is civilization's first great success story, proof that human cooperation can transcend tribal boundaries. Breathe slowly, and let the gentle harmony of this first empire carry you into restful peace, knowing that some human achievements, like the dream of unity, are eternal. Chapter 14. The Tower of Babel. Reaching for sky, let yourself drift peacefully to the heart of ancient Babylon, where humanity's most ambitious building project rises from the fertile plains. Feel the warm morning air as you approach the Tower of Babel, known to the Babylonians as Atamananki, house of the foundation of heaven and earth. This massive ziggurat reaches toward the sky like a mountain built by human hands. Stand at the tower's base and crane your neck upward. The structure climbs nearly 300 feet into the azure sky, its 7 terraces creating a stepped pyramid that seems to bridge the gap between earth and heaven. Each level is painted a different color, creating a rainbow stairway that catches and reflects the changing light throughout the day. Begin your ascent up the ceremonial ramp, feeling the smooth brick beneath your feet. The pathway spirals gently around the tower's exterior, allowing pilgrims to climb without exhaustion. As you rise, the bustling city of Babylon spreads below you like a living map, its streets and canals forming geometric patterns that stretch to the horizon. The first terrace is painted deep black, representing the underworld and the fertile earth from which all life springs. Workers move quietly here, maintaining the structure with reverent care. The sound of their tools creates a gentle rhythm, like a heartbeat that pulses through the ancient stones. This is sacred work, building humanity's ladder to the divine. Climb higher to the second level, painted white as bone, symbolizing the realm of mortal existence. Here, priests tend small shrines where offerings of grain and oil burn continuously. The smoke rises straight up in the still air, carrying prayers from the earthbound city to the celestial realm above. The scent of incense mingles with the warm desert breeze. The third terrace glows red as blood, representing life force and divine power. From this height, you can see the Euphrates winding through the landscape like a silver serpent, its waters reflecting the morning sun in brilliant flashes. Boats drift lazily along the river, carrying goods and passengers between the great cities of Mesopotamia. Continue upward to the 4th level, painted gold like the sun itself. The air grows cooler here, touched by breezes that seem to come from heaven. Below, the royal palace spreads across several city blocks, its gardens creating green oases in the urban landscape. The famous hanging gardens cascade down terraced walls like a waterfall of living green. The 5th terrace shines blue as lapis lazuli, the color of the sky at noon. Here, astronomers maintain their instruments, studying the movements of stars and planets. Their careful observations will become the foundation of all future astronomy. The quiet scratch of stylus on clay tablet records celestial movements with mathematical precision. Ascend to the 6th level, painted silver like the moon. The city noise fades to a gentle murmur, replaced by the whisper of wind through the tower's upper reaches. From this sacred height, Babylon appears as its builders intended, a perfect fusion of human ambition and divine inspiration. The geometric precision of streets and buildings reveals the mathematical harmony underlying creation itself. Finally, reach the seventh and highest terrace, gleaming white as fresh snow. Here stands the small temple that crowns the entire structure. This intimate chamber, no larger than a village house, was believed to be the dwelling place of Marduk himself. The god's golden statue catches the sunlight, seeming to glow with inner fire. Inside the summit temple, the atmosphere is profoundly peaceful. Sunlight streams through carefully positioned windows, creating patterns of light and shadow that shift throughout the day. This is where heaven and earth meet, where mortal priests commune with immortal powers, where the boundary between human and divine dissolves in sacred silence. The tower represents more than mere architecture. It embodies humanity's eternal desire to transcend earthly limitations, to reach toward something greater than ourselves. Every brick was laid with devotion, every level built with the collective dream of touching the infinite. This is ambition transformed into worship, pride elevated to reverence. From the temple's windows, the view encompasses the entire known world. The Fertile Crescent stretches in all directions, dotted with cities and crossed by rivers. This is the perspective of gods, the view from eternity, where human struggles appear as part of a greater pattern, a divine design too vast for mortal comprehension. As afternoon shadows begin to lengthen, the tower's colors deepen and glow. The painted terraces seem to pulse with life, creating a beacon visible from miles across the flat river plain. This is humanity's first skyscraper, our initial attempt to build something that rivals the mountains in height and majesty. Feel the profound tranquility that comes from standing at the intersection of earth and sky. In this sacred space, the ancient dream of unity between human and divine seems almost within reach. Breathe deeply, and let the timeless aspiration of this great tower carry you gently skyward, into peaceful rest among the clouds. Chapter 15. Lagash and Umma. City-states, let your consciousness drift peacefully across the ancient Sumerian landscape, where two great city-states rise from the fertile plains like jewels in the morning sun. Feel yourself approaching Lagash and Umma around 2500 BCE. When these rival cities represent the pinnacle of early urban civilization, their competition driving innovation and cultural achievement. Stand on the boundary between these two realms, marked by ancient stone monuments and irrigation canals. The air is warm and humid, filled with the scent of barley fields and date palm groves. This disputed borderland has witnessed humanity's first recorded wars, yet also its greatest achievements in art, literature, and governance. Enter Lagash through its massive gates, where guards in bronze armor nod respectfully to passing merchants. The city bustles with purposeful activity. Craftsmen work in open courtyards, their hammers ringing against metal in rhythmic harmony. The streets are paved with fired brick, creating smooth pathways that remain dry even during the seasonal floods. At Lagash's heart stands the great temple complex of Ningirsu, the city's patron deity. The ziggurat rises in perfect stepped symmetry, its walls gleaming white in the afternoon sun. Priests in linen robes climb the ceremonial stairs, carrying offerings of grain and precious oils. Their chanted prayers echo across the temple courtyards, creating an atmosphere of profound reverence. In the royal palace, King Gudea sits in quiet contemplation, studying architectural plans drawn on clay tablets. This ruler is known not for conquest but for building, commissioning temples and canals that will serve his people for generations. His hands, though capable of wielding weapons, are more often found holding the tools of construction and creation. The palace workshops produce art of extraordinary beauty. Sculptors carve statues from black diorite, their tools creating smooth, lifelike figures that seem to breathe with inner spirit. The sound of chisels on stone creates a gentle percussion, while apprentices learn the ancient techniques that transform raw rock into eternal beauty. Journey now to neighboring Umma, following ancient trade routes through irrigated farmland. The rivalry between these cities has produced remarkable innovation. Each seeks to outdo the other in architectural splendor, artistic achievement, and administrative efficiency. Competition becomes the engine of cultural progress. Uma's ziggurat rivals that of Lagash, its red brick walls creating a striking contrast to its neighbor's white limestone. The city's layout follows a different pattern, with wider streets radiating from the temple like spokes of a wheel. This urban planning represents centuries of experimentation in how people can best live together. In Uma's marketplace, merchants display goods from across the known world. Lapis lazuli from distant Afghanistan, cedar wood from Lebanese mountains, gold from Nubian mines. The gentle haggling of buyers and sellers creates a musical backdrop, while scales and measures ensure fair trade. This is commerce in its infancy, honest and personal. The irrigation systems of both cities represent marvels of ancient engineering. Canals branch and divide like arteries, carrying life-giving water to every field and garden. The sound of flowing water provides a constant, soothing background, while farmers tend crops that will feed thousands. This cooperation with nature creates abundance from desert. Between the cities, the disputed territory tells stories of both conflict and cooperation. Ancient boundary stones mark agreements made and broken, yet also record successful treaties that brought peace for generations. The land itself seems to whisper of humanity's eternal struggle between competition and collaboration. In Lagash's scribal school, young students practice cuneiform on clay tablets, their reed styluses creating the wedge-shaped marks that preserve human thought. The gentle scratching sounds blend with whispered recitations of ancient texts. This is education beginning, the systematic transfer of knowledge from one generation to the next. Uma's artisans specialize in different crafts, creating distinctive pottery and textiles that identify their city's products throughout Mesopotamia. The rivalry drives innovation, each city striving to create goods more beautiful, more useful, more desired than their neighbors. Competition becomes creativity. As evening approaches, both cities light their oil lamps, creating twin constellations of warm light across the darkening plain. The sounds of daily life wind down, families gathering for meals, children playing in courtyards, elders sharing stories of ancient days. This is civilization in its youth, vibrant and hopeful. The relationship between Lagash and Uma embodies humanity's complex nature, capable of both conflict and cooperation, competition and collaboration. Their rivalry pushes both cities to greater heights, while their shared culture creates lasting bonds. This is the human condition made visible in urban form. Feel the gentle rhythm of life in these ancient cities, where people work and dream, create and compete, love and struggle, just as humans always have. In their peaceful evening activities, you can sense the eternal patterns that connect all civilizations across time. Breathe slowly, and let the timeless harmony of these sister cities carry you into restful peace, where ancient rivalries dissolve into the greater story of human achievement. Chapter 16. The Cylinder Seals. Ancient signatures. Let your mind drift peacefully into a quiet Mesopotamian workshop, where master craftsmen create humanity's first personal signatures. Feel the cool morning air as you enter this sanctuary of ancient artistry around 3500 BCE, where cylinder seals are born from stone and imagination, transforming simple rocks into portable masterpieces of identity and power. Settle beside a master seal carver as he selects a piece of lapis lazuli. The deep blue stone gleams like captured starlight, smooth and cool to the touch. This precious material has traveled thousands of miles from Afghan mountains, carried by traders along ancient routes, to become someone's personal mark, their signature in an age before writing. Watch as the craftsman begins his delicate work. Using copper tools no larger than needles, he carves intricate scenes into the stone's curved surface. The rhythmic tapping of metal on stone creates a meditative sound, like gentle rain on clay roofs. Each tiny chip reveals more of the hidden image, A world in miniature taking shape beneath patient hands. The cylinder seal he creates is no larger than your thumb, yet contains an entire universe of meaning. Gods and mortals dance across its surface in eternal procession. Lions hunt gazelles through carved forests, while above them, celestial symbols mark the passage of seasons. This is storytelling in stone, mythology made portable. Feel the smooth weight of a completed seal in your palm. The stone is warm from the craftsman's touch, its surface polished to mirror perfection. When rolled across soft clay, it will leave a perfect impression, a rectangular frieze that identifies its owner as surely as a fingerprint. This is identity made permanent, personality carved in stone. In the workshop's corner, apprentices practice on softer stones, learning to control their tools with precision. The gentle scraping sounds blend with their whispered concentration, creating an atmosphere of focused learning. This ancient art requires years to master, each seal representing hundreds of hours of careful work. The seals serve practical purposes in daily life. Merchants use them to mark containers of grain and oil, ensuring their goods remain untouched during transport. Government officials seal important documents, their cylinder impressions carrying the weight of law. Even ordinary citizens own simple seals, marking their personal possessions with pride. Browse among the workshop's collection of finished seals. Each one tells a different story. Some show peaceful scenes of worship, priests offering sacrifices to benevolent gods. Others depict heroic adventures, warriors battling monsters in defense of civilization. The variety reflects the rich imagination of Mesopotamian culture. The carving techniques represent remarkable skill. Using only hand tools and abrasive powders, craftsmen create details so fine they require magnification to appreciate fully. Hair on human figures flows like real silk, animal fur shows individual strands, clothing displays intricate patterns. This is miniature art at its finest. Different stones carry different meanings. Red carnelian symbolizes courage and protection. Green serpentine represents fertility and growth. Black hematite offers strength and authority. The choice of material becomes part of the seal's message, adding layers of meaning to the carved imagery. As afternoon light filters through the workshop windows, completed seals catch and reflect the golden rays. Their polished surfaces seem to glow with inner fire, creating tiny rainbows in the lapis lazuli, flashes of red in the carnelian. These are jewels of identity, precious beyond their material value. The seal impressions themselves become works of art. When rolled across clay, the carved images transform into flowing narratives. Gods process across tablet surfaces, animals leap through stone forests, geometric patterns create borders of mathematical beauty. This is printing in its earliest form, mass production of artistic images. In royal workshops, the finest seals are created for kings and nobles. These masterpieces incorporate precious metals, gold wire inlaid into carved channels, silver details that catch lamplight. The most elaborate seals become symbols of ultimate authority, their impressions carrying the power of divine kingship. The evening brings special tranquility to the workshop. As oil lamps are lit, the carved seals seem to come alive in the flickering light. Shadows dance across their surfaces, making the tiny figures appear to move, to breathe, to live again after thousands of years in stone. Feel the profound connection these ancient signatures create. Each seal represents an individual human being, someone who lived and worked, loved and dreamed, in the dawn of civilization. Their personal marks survive long after their names are forgotten, testament to the human desire for identity and remembrance. The cylinder seals embody humanity's first mass-produced art, combining practical function with aesthetic beauty, personal identity with cultural expression. In these tiny masterpieces, we see the birth of graphic design, the beginning of personal branding, the first attempt to make individual identity portable and permanent. Breathe gently, and let the quiet concentration of these ancient craftsmen carry you into peaceful rest. Surrounded by the timeless beauty of humanity's first signatures, carved in stone and rolled in clay for eternity. Chapter 17. Nippur, Sacred Center. Let your spirit drift peacefully to the most sacred city in ancient Mesopotamia. Nippur, where the gods themselves are said to have chosen their earthly dwelling place. Feel the reverent atmosphere as you approach this holy center around 3000 BCE, where pilgrims from every Sumerian city come to worship at the temple of Enlil, Lord of Wind and Storm. Enter the city through gates blessed by centuries of prayer. The very air seems different here, charged with spiritual energy that makes even ordinary sounds seem hushed and sacred. Unlike other cities built for trade or defense, Nippur exists solely for worship, its streets radiating outward from the great temple like rays from a divine sun. At the city's heart rises the Ekkur, the mountain house of Enlil. This massive ziggurat climbs toward heaven in perfect stepped symmetry, its white limestone walls gleaming like fresh snow against the desert sky. The structure dominates the landscape for miles, visible to travelers long before they reach the city walls, a beacon of faith in the wilderness. Climb the ceremonial stairs slowly, feeling the worn stone beneath your feet, polished smooth by countless pilgrims over millennia. Each step brings you closer to the divine realm, the boundary between earth and heaven growing thinner with every level. The sound of chanted prayers drifts down from the temple above, creating a natural hymn that echoes off the ancient walls. In the temple courtyards, priests from every Sumerian city serve together, their white linen robes rustling softly as they tend the eternal flames. These sacred fires have burned continuously for over 1,000 years, fed by offerings of the finest oils and grains. The smoke rises straight up in the still air, carrying prayers to Enlil's celestial palace. The temple treasury holds gifts from kings and commoners alike, golden vessels crafted by master artisans, precious stones from distant mountains, rare woods from foreign forests. Yet the most valuable offerings are simpler, clay tablets inscribed with personal prayers, humble requests for health, prosperity, protection. These intimate messages to the gods fill entire rooms. Nippur's scribal schools train the finest scholars in Mesopotamia. Young students practice cuneiform in quiet chambers, their reed styluses creating gentle scratching sounds against clay tablets. Here they learn not just writing but theology, astronomy, mathematics. This is education at its most sacred, knowledge passed down as religious duty. The city's workshops produce religious art of extraordinary beauty. Sculptors carve votive statues with enormous eyes, eternal worshippers who will pray on behalf of their donors forever. The sound of chisels on stone creates a meditative rhythm, while apprentices learn techniques that transform raw materials into objects of devotion. Walk through Nippur's residential districts, where temple servants live in modest homes built around peaceful courtyards. Date palms provide cooling shade, while small gardens grow herbs used in religious ceremonies. The atmosphere is contemplative, removed from the commercial bustle of other cities, focused entirely on spiritual matters. The city's location holds deep significance, positioned at the geographical center of Sumer, equidistant from the major city-states. This neutral ground allows Nippur to serve all peoples equally, its priests mediating disputes between cities, its temples offering sanctuary to refugees. This is diplomacy through faith, politics sanctified by prayer. During religious festivals, Nippur transforms into a vast outdoor temple. Pilgrims arrive from across Mesopotamia, their boats crowding the canals, their camps spreading beyond the city walls. The air fills with incense and song, while processions wind through streets decorated with flowers and colored banners. The temple archives contain humanity's oldest religious literature, epic poems about creation, hymns praising the gods, ritual instructions passed down through generations. These clay tablets preserve the spiritual wisdom of civilization's dawn, carefully copied and recopied to ensure their survival. As evening approaches, oil lamps flicker to life throughout the temple complex. Their warm glow transforms the white limestone into gold, creating an otherworldly atmosphere that seems to lift the entire city closer to heaven. This is when Nippur reveals its true nature, not as earthly settlement but as divine dwelling place. The night sounds are different here, softer, more reverent. The gentle splash of ritual ablutions. The whispered prayers of late worshippers, the distant chanting from the temple heights. These sounds blend into a natural lullaby, the breathing of a city dedicated entirely to the sacred. Nippur represents humanity's first attempt to create a purely spiritual community, a place where material concerns fade before religious devotion, where the boundary between mortal and divine becomes permeable, where prayer transforms ordinary life into sacred ritual. Feel the profound peace that emanates from this holy city. In its quiet streets and sacred courtyards, you can sense humanity's eternal longing. G for connection with something greater than ourselves. This is faith made visible, devotion given architectural form. Breathe slowly, and let the timeless sanctity of this sacred center carry you into gentle rest, surrounded by prayers that have echoed through these ancient stones for over 5,000 years. Chapter 18. The Royal Tombs of Ur. Golden treasures, let your consciousness drift peacefully to ancient Ur, where beneath the desert sands lie humanity's most magnificent burial chambers. Feel yourself descending gently into the royal cemetery around 2600 BCE, where Queen Puabi and her court rest in eternal splendor, surrounded by treasures that rival the gods themselves. Enter the sacred burial ground through passages carved deep into the earth. The air is cool and still, heavy with the weight of centuries and the reverence due to royalty. Oil lamps flicker along the walls, casting dancing shadows that seem to bring the ancient carvings to life. This is where earthly power meets eternal rest. Approach Queen Puabi's tomb chamber, where golden light reflects from countless precious objects. Her body lies peacefully on a wooden bier, adorned with jewelry of breathtaking beauty. A golden headdress crowns her head, its delicate leaves and flowers crafted with such skill they seem ready to sway in an unfelt breeze. The queen's golden cup rests beside her, still gleaming after 4 millennia. Its surface bears no tarnish, no sign of age, as if time itself has paused in reverence. Nearby, silver vessels catch the lamplight, their polished surfaces creating pools of liquid mercury in the underground darkness. Around the royal burial, her faithful attendants lie in peaceful repose. Court ladies wearing elaborate headdresses of gold and carnelian, musicians clutching lyres decorated with bull heads of beaten gold, guards with copper spears still at their sides, all chose to accompany their queen into the afterlife, their loyalty transcending death itself. The golden lyre of Ur rests in the hands of the court musician, its bull's head crafted with extraordinary detail. The creature's eyes are made of lapis lazuli and shell, creating an expression both fierce and benevolent. When archaeologists first discovered this instrument, they could still see impressions where the ancient strings once vibrated with music. Examine the intricate craftsmanship of the burial goods. Daggers with golden hilts and silver blades, their edges still sharp after millennia. Cosmetic containers carved from precious stones, their contents long evaporated but their beauty eternal. Each object represents hundreds of hours of skilled labor, created specifically for this sacred purpose. The royal headdresses display goldsmithing at its finest. Delicate chains support golden leaves, each one hammered to paper thinness yet retaining perfect form. Carnelian beads alternate with gold spacers in patterns that speak of mathematical precision. This is jewelry as art, adornment elevated to the level of sculpture. In the tomb's corners, clay tablets record the queen's titles and achievements. Her name, Puabi, means "word of my father," suggesting royal lineage stretching back generations. These inscriptions provide humanity's first glimpse into the lives of individual women in positions of power. The burial chamber's walls are lined with offerings from across the known world. Shells from the Persian Gulf, precious stones from distant mountains, ivory from exotic lands. This international collection speaks to Ur's far-reaching trade networks, its connections spanning continents. The famous Standard of Ur depicts scenes of peace and war in intricate mosaic. Lapis lazuli and shell create images of banquets and battles, soldiers marching in formation, nobles feasting at elaborate tables. This artwork provides a window into Sumerian society, showing how they lived, fought, and celebrated. Silver model boats rest among the treasures, complete with tiny oars and steering mechanisms. These vessels will carry the royal souls across the waters of death, just as earthly boats carried them along Mesopotamian canals. The attention to detail is extraordinary, each miniature craft a masterpiece of metalworking. The tomb's atmosphere is profoundly peaceful. Despite the wealth surrounding them, the royal remains seem to rest in simple dignity. Their faces, where preserved, show expressions of serene acceptance, as if death held no terror for those who lived with such magnificence. Gaming boards inlaid with precious materials suggest that even in death, entertainment continues. The game of 20 squares, ancestor to modern backgammon, lies ready for eternal play. Its pieces are crafted from lapis lazuli and shell, turning simple recreation into artistic expression. As you move through the burial chambers, the golden treasures seem to glow with inner light. This is not mere wealth but sacred art, objects created not for display but for eternity. Each piece represents the Sumerian belief that beauty and craftsmanship honor both the living and the dead. The royal tombs represent more than burial sites. They embody humanity's first great statement about the afterlife, the belief that death is not ending but transformation, that earthly beauty can accompany souls into whatever realm awaits beyond. Feel the profound tranquility that surrounds these ancient treasures. In their golden silence, you can sense the eternal human desire to create beauty, to honor those we love, to believe that some things transcend the boundaries of mortal existence. Breathe gently, and let the timeless peace of these royal chambers carry you into restful dreams, where golden light illumina. Taste the eternal sleep of ancient queens. Chapter 19. Astronomy and Mathematics. Celestial wisdom. Let your mind drift peacefully to the highest terrace of a Babylonian ziggurat, where ancient astronomers conduct humanity's first systematic study of the heavens. Feel the cool night air around 600 BCE as you join these patient observers, their eyes turned skyward, mapping the eternal dance of stars and planets with mathematical precision. Settle beside the master astronomer as he adjusts his bronze astrolabe. The instrument gleams in the starlight, its carefully calibrated markings allowing precise measurement of celestial positions. Around you, clay tablets covered with cuneiform calculations rest on stone tables, recording observations that will become the foundation of all future astronomy. Above, the Mesopotamian sky spreads like a vast scroll written in points of light. The astronomers have divided this celestial sphere into 3 regions, the way of Anu, Enlil, and Ea, each section governed by different gods, containing specific constellations that rise and set in predictable patterns. This is the birth of systematic sky mapping. Watch as the astronomer carefully notes the position of Venus, which the Babylonians call Ishtar. The planet's movements follow complex patterns that these ancient scientists have tracked for centuries. Their mathematical models predict its appearances and disappearances with remarkable accuracy, proving that celestial chaos contains hidden order. The scribes work quietly nearby, their reed styluses recording numbers in the world's first-place value system. Using base 60, they can express both enormous quantities and tiny fractions with elegant simplicity. The gentle scratching of stylus on clay creates a meditative rhythm, the sound of human reason grappling with cosmic mysteries. On nearby tablets, mathematical calculations stretch in neat columns. The Babylonians have discovered that lunar months follow precise patterns, that eclipses occur in predictable cycles, that the year contains exactly 365 and 1/4 days. These insights require sophisticated arithmetic, the marriage of observation and calculation. The astronomical diary for this year records daily positions of sun, moon, and planets, weather patterns, river levels, market prices, all carefully noted alongside celestial events. These ancient scientists understand that earthly and heavenly phenomena are intimately connected, part of a greater cosmic harmony. Listen to the astronomer's quiet explanation of the zodiac. The ecliptic path of the sun passes through 12 constellations, each one rising at specific seasons. The stars of the Ram herald spring planting, while the Scorpion announces autumn harvest. This celestial calendar governs all agricultural and religious activities. The mathematical achievements are extraordinary. Babylonian astronomers calculate planetary periods to within minutes of modern values. They predict lunar eclipses centuries in advance. Their geometric models of planetary motion anticipate later Greek developments. This is theoretical science in its infancy, pure knowledge pursued for its own sake. In the temple school below, students learn the multiplication tables that make these calculations possible. The base 60 system allows elegant solutions to complex problems. Dividing circles into 360 degrees, hours into 60 minutes. These Mesopotamian innovations still govern how we measure time and space. The night observations continue until dawn, each planetary position carefully measured and recorded. The astronomers work with religious devotion, believing they read the will of the gods written in stellar movements. Their patient accuracy transforms superstition into science, fear into understanding. Star catalogs list over 1,000 celestial objects, each one named and positioned with mathematical precision. The Pleiades, Orion, the Great Bear, these constellations carry Mesopotamian names that echo through modern astronomy. This is humanity's first systematic census of the visible universe. The mathematical tools are surprisingly sophisticated. Babylonian mathematicians solve quadratic equations, calculate square roots, work with geometric progressions. Their problem texts show practical applications, calculating field areas, dividing inheritances, planning construction projects. Mathematics serves both earthly and celestial needs. As dawn approaches, the astronomers carefully store their instruments. The bronze astrolabe returns to its protective case. Clay tablets join thousands of others in the temple archives. This accumulated knowledge represents centuries of patient observation, the slow construction of humanity's first scientific worldview. The morning light reveals the true scope of their achievement. From this ziggurat, ancient scientists have mapped the heavens, predicted eclipses, calculated planetary cycles. Their mathematical methods will spread throughout the ancient world, influencing Greek, Islamic, and eventually modern astronomy. Feel the profound tranquility of this ancient observatory, where human curiosity first turned systematic attention to the cosmos. In the patient work of these early astronomers, you can sense the birth of scientific method, the marriage of observation and mathematics that still drives discovery today. The Mesopotamian legacy in astronomy and mathematics is immeasurable. Our 60-minute hour, our 360-degree circle, our zodiacal constellations, all trace back to these ancient observers. Their patient mapping of celestial patterns gave humanity its first glimpse of cosmic order. Breathe slowly, and let the eternal rhythm of the stars carry you into peaceful rest, surrounded by the timeless wisdom of those who first learned to read the language of the heavens. Chapter 20. The Legacy. Foundation of civilization. Let your consciousness drift peacefully across the vast expanse of time, from ancient Mesopotamia to the present moment. Feel yourself floating gently above the Fertile Crescent where humanity first learned to build cities, write stories, create laws, and reach toward the divine. This is our final journey together, exploring how these ancient innovations still shape our world today. Stand once more beside the Tigris and Euphrates, where the first farmers learned to irrigate their fields. The techniques they developed, channeling water through carefully planned canals, remain the foundation of agriculture worldwide. Every modern farm, every garden, Every irrigation system traces its ancestry to these patient pioneers who first coaxed abundance from desert soil. Walk through the ruins of ancient Uruk, humanity's first great city. The urban planning principles developed here, residential districts, commercial areas, religious centers, still guide how we organize our communities. Every modern city, from New York to Tokyo, follows patterns first established in these Mesopotamian settlements 6,000 years ago. Visit the quiet chambers where scribes first pressed cuneiform into clay. The writing system they created gave birth to all literature, all recorded history, all preserved knowledge. Every book you've ever read, every email you've sent, every text message, descends from those first wedge-shaped marks that captured human thought in permanent form. Feel the weight of Hammurabi's stone steel, where the first written laws promised equal justice for all. The legal principles carved into that black diorite, presumption of innocence, proportional punishment, protection of the weak, form the bedrock of every modern legal system. Courts around the world still echo with the wisdom of ancient Babylonian judges. Climb once more the steps of the great ziggurats, where priests first studied the movements of stars and planets. Their patient observations gave us our calendar, our understanding of eclipses, our ability to navigate by celestial bodies. Modern astronomy, space exploration, GPS satellites, all build upon foundations laid by Mesopotamian stargazers. Listen to the eternal rhythm of the potter's wheel, first invented in these ancient cities. This simple device revolutionized human creativity, allowing mass production of beautiful, functional objects. Every ceramic cup, every clay pot, every piece of pottery connects us to those first craftsmen who learned to shape clay with spinning precision. Walk through Babylon's markets, where the first coins facilitated trade. The concept of standardized currency, of banking, of commercial law, spread from these ancient bazaars to create the global economy. Every transaction, every bank, every stock exchange, traces its lineage to Mesopotamian merchants who first learned to trade with written contracts. Stand in the library of Ashurbanipal, where humanity first systematically collected and preserved knowledge. The concept of libraries, schools, universities, all began in these quiet chambers where scribes copied ancient texts. Every library card you've held, every classroom you've entered, connects you to these first institutions of learning. Feel the cool morning mist rising from the ancient rivers. The same forces that shaped Mesopotamian civilization continue today. The need for water, fertile soil, cooperative communities? These eternal requirements still determine where cities rise, where agriculture flourishes, where civilization takes root. The Mesopotamian gift to humanity extends beyond mere technology. These ancient peoples first grappled with the fundamental questions that still occupy us. How should we govern ourselves? How can we preserve knowledge? What stories define us? How do we honor the divine? Their answers, carved in stone and pressed in clay, echo through every human society. In their epic poems, we find the first explorations of friendship, mortality, the search for meaning. Gilgamesh's journey mirrors our own. His questions remain our questions. His struggles reflect the eternal human condition. Literature, philosophy, psychology, all trace their origins to these first storytellers. The mathematical innovations of Babylon still govern how we measure time and space. 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 360 degrees in a circle. These ancient choices shape our daily lives. Every clock, every compass, every geometric calculation connects us to Mesopotamian mathematicians. As our journey through ancient Mesopotamia draws to a close, feel the profound connections linking past and present. The farmers who first planted barley, the scribes who first wrote laws, the astronomers who first mapped stars, the artists who first shaped clay, all live on in the civilization they created. Their cities have crumbled to dust. Their languages are forgotten, their names lost to time, yet their achievements remain eternal. Every time we write, we honor the first scribes. Every time we seek justice, we follow Hammurabi's example. Every time we look up at stars, we share the wonder of ancient astronomers. The legacy of Mesopotamia flows through human civilization like the eternal rivers that nourished it. Invisible yet essential, ancient yet ever-present, these first civilizations gave us the tools, the knowledge, the dreams that still guide humanity's journey. Feel the timeless peace of this ancient wisdom. In the patient achievements of these early peoples, you can sense the eternal human capacity for growth, for learning, for building something beautiful and lasting. Breathe deeply, and let the gentle current of this great legacy carry you into restful sleep, knowing that you are part of an unbroken chain stretching back to civilization's dawn, connected forever to those who first dared to dream of cities, laws, and stories that would outlast the stars themselves. As our journey through the cradle of civilization draws to a peaceful close, let your breathing slow and deepen, while the timeless wisdom of ancient Mesopotamia settles gently around you like evening mist over the eternal rivers. We have walked together through 6,000 years of human achievement, from the first settlements rising along the Tigris and Euphrates, to the great empires that shaped the ancient world. Feel yourself drifting back through these remarkable chapters of our shared human story. We began in the Fertile Crescent, where nomadic tribes first chose to stay, to plant seeds instead of merely gathering, to build permanent homes beside life-giving waters. Here, humanity took its first tentative steps toward civilization, learning that cooperation yields abundance, that working together creates possibilities beyond individual dreams. We witnessed the birth of Uruk, the world's first great city, where 50,000 souls learned to live as neighbors, creating the first urban communities, the first experiments in mass organization. In those ancient streets, humanity discovered that cities are more than buildings, they're communities of shared purpose, shared dreams, shared destiny. We climbed the sacred ziggurat of Ur, that first stairway to heaven, where human ambition reached toward the divine. In its ascending terraces, we saw humanity's eternal longing to transcend earthly limitations, to build something that bridges the gap between mortal and immortal, temporary and eternal. Let your mind drift peacefully through the quiet chambers where cuneiform was born, where patient scribes first captured human thought in permanent form. Those wedge-shaped marks in clay were more than mere symbols. They were humanity's first victory over time, the beginning of memory made eternal, knowledge preserved beyond the span of individual lives. Feel the profound tranquility of witnessing the Epic of Gilgamesh take shape, humanity's first great story, exploring friendship and loss, mortality and meaning, the eternal questions that still occupy our hearts today. In that ancient tale, we glimpsed the birth of literature itself, the moment when stories became immortal. We walked through Babylon's magnificent gates, where blue-glazed walls proclaimed the power of human artistry, where hanging gardens defied gravity with love, where the Tower of Babel reached toward heaven with collective ambition. In that greatest of ancient cities, we saw civilization at its most refined, most beautiful, most hopeful. The stone steel of Hammurabi's code stands eternal in memory, where justice first became written law, where the promise of equal treatment transformed from dream to legal reality. Those ancient statutes still echo in every courtroom, every constitution, every cry for fairness that rises from the human heart. In Nineveh's great library, we witnessed knowledge becoming institutional, preserved not for kings alone but for all humanity. Those 30,000 tablets held the world's first systematic attempt to gather and preserve human wisdom, the ancestor of every library, every school, every university that has since opened its doors to learning. We marveled at the Ishtar Gate's blue majesty, where art and architecture merged into something transcendent, where human creativity honored both earthly beauty and divine inspiration. In its glazed perfection, we saw how the desire to create beauty drives human achievement across millennia. From Eridu, humanity's first city, to the great empires of Akkad and Assyria, we traced the arc of human organization, watching tribes become cities, cities become kingdoms, kingdoms become empires. Each stage brought new challenges, new innovations, new proofs of humanity's capacity for growth and adaptation. Feel yourself relaxing more deeply as you remember the cylinder seals. Those first personal signatures, where individual identity became portable and permanent. The royal tombs of Ur, where craft and devotion created treasures that outlasted kingdoms. The astronomical observations that first mapped the heavens with mathematical precision. The rivers Tigris and Euphrates flow eternally through this story, carrying not just water but the very essence of civilization itself. Their annual floods brought fertility, their steady current enabled trade, their life-giving flow made everything else possible. Like civilization itself, they persist through all changes, nourishing each generation in turn. As your breathing becomes slower, more peaceful, reflect on the profound legacy these ancient peoples left for all who came after. Every time you read a book, you honor Mesopotamian scribes? Every time you follow a law, you walk in Hammurabi's footsteps? Every time you live in a city, you dwell in Uruk's shadow? The mathematical innovations of Babylon still measure our days, 60 seconds, 60 minutes, degrees of arc that navigate ships and satellites. The agricultural techniques first developed between the rivers still feed the world. The concept of permanent settlements, of specialized crafts, of organized government, all trace back to these ancient pioneers. But perhaps their greatest gift transcends mere technology. In Mesopotamia, humanity first dared to believe that we could shape our destiny through reason, planning, cooperation. Those ancient peoples proved that working together, we could create abundance from scarcity, beauty from raw materials, order from chaos, meaning from the apparent randomness of existence. Let that profound realization settle over you like a warm blanket. You are part of an unbroken chain stretching back to civilizatio. Ens dawn, the same capacity for wonder that drove ancient astronomers to map the stars lives within you. The same creativity that inspired Sumerian artists flows through your veins. The same hope that motivated the first city builders beats in your heart. As sleep draws near, feel yourself cradled by this vast continuity, surrounded by the accumulated wisdom of countless generations. The patient farmers who first tamed the rivers, the careful scribes who first captured thought, the visionary architects who first built monuments to last forever, all contributed their gifts to the great human story of which you are part. Their cities have returned to dust. Their languages are mostly forgotten. Their faces lost to time. Yet their spirit endures in every human achievement, every act of creation, every dream of building something beautiful and lasting. In your own life, their legacy continues, their hopes find new expression. Breathe slowly and peacefully now, knowing that the same forces that nurtured the first civilizations nurture you still. The desire to learn, to create, to connect with others, to leave the world better than we found it. These eternal human drives link you across the millennia to those who first dared to dream of civilization. Let the gentle current of the eternal rivers carry you into restful sleep, where ancient wisdom mingles with modern dreams, where the patient achievements of our ancestors blend with your own hopes for tomorrow. In this peaceful flow of continuity, find the deep rest that comes from knowing your place in the great human story. The lights of ancient Babylon have long since faded, but new lights kindle every day in human hearts, carrying forward the flame first lit beside the Tigris and Euphrates, where humanity learned to dream, to build, to hope, to endure. Sleep now in this timeless peace, cradled by the eternal rivers, blessed by the accumulated wisdom of ages, connected forever to the first brave souls who chose to stay beside the waters, to plant instead of wander, to build the foundations of everything we call civilization. Good night.